Hello, gentle viewers. This is Out Guardian welcoming you back to Out of the Park Baseball 23. In our last episode, we went through the off season of 2052/3, and we cleared a lot of older players off of our roster. We're in an event to get a bit younger. We've replaced our entire outfield, our corner outfielders, with Jalen Tucker manning left field and Ray Simano manning right field. In addition, we have a new backup first baseman as Otis Wolf has been sent on his merry way in Mr. Jesus Kanagiani. We are also having Cerulli play some right field to get Tucker out of the lineup because Tucker does have quite an issue facing left-handed pitching. And we've also made some changes to our pitching staff, adding Gerald Teat in free agency and Angel Briones in trade, hoping that between the two of them we can have a better pitching staff than last season. So much so that Ernesto Nieves, who was previously one of our better starters, is being converted to a bullpen guy, at least for now. And then we can see what happens as the season progresses. So we're trying to get younger, but we're still not young enough, and we're probably going to want to be considering ways to move on from some of our other older players. Josh Lynch played so fantastically well last season that I felt obligated to bring him back for one more year. We have him on a very inexpensive contract, so if we need to get rid of him, we can. In addition, we do have Mr. Ruben Valdivia, who is close to the majors, I think, and one Ricky Henderson, who may end up out in the outfield. We're not quite sure yet, but he's going to be tested in AAA this year. So what isn't going so well? What is our biggest concern? Well, we don't have a ton in younger starting pitching. We do have Corey McLaughlin, who is going to be an interesting pitcher, I think. I think at some point we will just give him as many starts as he wants. We have Andres Carrillo, who is really just a better control away from making the majors himself. But beyond that, a lot of our starting pitching is either not very good or quite far away from the big leagues, or in some cases both. So, if we can find a young starting pitcher, it would behoove us to consider acquiring them. So let us quickly go over to the trade screen, shall we? I believe we shall. We shall go to team needs, and I'm going to ask for a starting pitcher. Oh, minor leaguers, please. Potential ability, at least good. I don't care what kind of pitcher he is or anything else. I do want him to be quite young, so anywhere from 16 to 21. That's what I'm going to try to target in this offseason, during the season, is move an asset or two to try to get some good young pitching back into the system. We have lots and lots of money. So this raises possibly the most important question for this particular season. What do we do with Manny Pozo? Manny Pozo has played, as of this season, 10 years with the Pittsburgh Pirates. And in those 10 years, he has been a very, very good player. But note the word I just used. Good. He consistently produces well offensively. He's consistently a pretty efficient defender. He generally has a good average. He generally has reasonably good power. He's a very good player. But if we look at his contract demands, he wants to be paid a bit closer to being an MVP candidate. And that, I think, is a little bit too much. I think it's a little bit too much. Although, on the flip side, he has been incredibly durable. He's been very productive, and he's been a quality defender. He's got 3 All-Star awards, no Silver Sluggers, no MVPs. That's because he doesn't hit homers at the same rate as other players. He always hits double digits. But he doesn't have the raw power of some of the other hitters that are regularly contributing, say, 40 to 50 homers a year. All this to say, I think bringing him back is worth it. But I don't want to give him 8 years. I'd rather give him 5. And get a team option in there. I think he will be an excellent player for the next 3 years. I have no concerns about that whatsoever. By the time he hits 36, I want to have the option to get out of this contract. So this is the deal I will offer him. What if I do a team option, but for every year you get 500 plate appearances, you get an extra $1 million? Because I really want this team option, if you'll let me have it. No, he really just wants the 5-year deal. If that's the case, would he take something like this? Yes, he would. I've got so much money on the books, and he's been such a good player for us that I think this is okay. I don't feel amazing about it, and I wish I could get that team option, but at least I'm asking for a no-trade clause. So I'm going to go ahead and submit this offer, and we're going to try to make sure we lock him up. The next player to possibly consider extending, maybe Steve Mcdonald, depending how he does this year. Jim Gender is an interesting one. And I am of two minds about our friend here. He has generally been a productive reliever. On the other hand, he's very frequently injured. So I'm not sure that giving him a big contract makes sense, but we'll figure something out to do with him, even if it's just trade him. So we've got a new contract coming to Pozo. That's great. Luis Guevara, if I don't keep is almost certainly going to get a contract extension. I'm not paying you $12 million though. That's not happening. I feel the other question, of course, is Johnny Cerulli. At what point do we approach him for his extension? And the answer is not even close. He's not even eligible for arbitration yet, and while he's been extremely productive, I don't really feel a need to rush out here and lock him up just yet anyway. Alright, I think it is time to go ahead and play some baseball games and see what the future holds for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Let's go. This opportunity to give me a delicious drink. Montez de Oca did clear waivers. I am not shocked about that at all. So Lynch has a stiff back. But it's only got him day to day. I'd rather he either suffer a more serious injury or just be given time to recover. Maybe let Akamura get the odd start at center field for now, and I think that'll be fine. And Manny Pozo does indeed get his 5-year extension. Excellent. I'm not completely convinced this is the right decision. It is an awful lot of money. But on the other hand, he's been so good for so long that I think he's a reasonably good. I don't know what's more impressive. I don't know what's scarier. The fact that he has a torn quad, is only missing 3 weeks, or that he has a torn quad already. I will put you on the IL. And for right now, I'll call up Chris Hawk to be our backup first baseman, but I am going to let Kanagiani have first base there. And our new DH will be... We're going to do this. There you go. And here Chris Hawk plays DH. And then I'm just going to go ahead and quickly slide in Hawk to be backup first baseman, and then we'll go from there. Unfortunately, Mike Pozo is no longer hitting over 600, so clearly we should just cut him. Jesus Bernal. I agree. He seems like an excellent prospect, which is exactly what... Oh, never mind. I don't want him. Note the stamina here. That's not good enough. He's basically a glorified reliever. So I'm going to set my status to not interested. But thank you. Mr. Jesus Kanagiani is hitting .403 with 9 home runs in his first 62 at-bats. That's real good. That's quite good. We're just going to blow through May until we have decisions to make for right now. I don't have enough data to really make any concrete decisions about the future of the team. Alright, Bill Garay is ready to come back. Kanagiani has 13 home runs already. I am completely honest with you. I don't think I want to rush Garay back just yet. Let's go ahead and let Mr. Garay rehab a bit in the minors. You may have gotten pipped, Mr. Garay, but we'll see what happens. I'm definitely not committing anything just yet. But I want to give him a chance to see how he does given the opportunity. The opportunity. Moy is out for 4 months. That is not great. It's not like he's got a big contract. At least we won't have him for that long. So, Corey McLaughlin goes right to the majors. And the question is Nieves still good enough to be a starter? I will put him back in the rotation. And then Mr. McLaughlin, I'm going to make you long relief emergency starter. What am I talking about? Padilla quite clearly needs to be the starting pitcher. And Nieves can go back to his old ways. Specialist, emergency starter, and you'll be emergency starter and long relief. Yeah, Jim Gender just keeps getting hurt. Oh, dang. Well, Joe's enjoying himself in Atlanta. Damn, son. Sure, Josh Lynch. Let's start a charity. Tommy Mcdonald is pretty much just a reliever at this point. I'm going to go ahead and let him rehab. But I'm pretty sure that he's not going to be around for too much longer. Alright, so here's an interesting question. First, let's have a look. Canigiani has 15 home runs already. He's already proving to be an excellent hitter. So the question then becomes, do we still want Bill Garay? Now, let's break this down a bit. Mr. Canigiani is an amazing power hitter who gets on base at an incredible clip. These are both incredibly valuable assets. But his contact doesn't actually look that great, right? And so it is fair to ask if he will indeed hit 300. And I don't know the answer to that. But what I do know is that right now he is extremely hot. But then again, Bill Garay was also hitting quite well. So the question becomes, are we better off with Hawk and Canigiani or Garay and Canigiani? And I think it's pretty clear that Garay comes back. For now. This brings us to a new question, which is who starts? And I think the answer here is Garay starts against left-handed pitching for now. And Garay's a much better first baseman than Canigiani. Actually, no, Canigiani is actually the better first baseman. So then Garay gets to DH here. There we go. But I do want Mr. Canigiani getting regular starts against right-handed pitching at least once every 7 games. This is a season to get him used to playing in the majors while Garay is on his way out. So that is fine. Okay, we can get Dan Day back now. I'm gonna let Dan Day rehab as well. Frankly, I need something to change so I can clearly see who is or who is not ready for a return to the major leagues. Like, Hiroshi Hayashi ain't gonna fucking hit 373 over the course of the season. That just ain't gonna happen. Moya's slipping. Gender's slipping. John Deek is slipping. Jose Brown's getting a tiny bit better in some ways. Yeah, Canigiani is really improving. Pozo's getting better. Tucker is dropping. Oh dear. Samano's more or less the same. Josh Lynch is aging as one does. Okay, Andres Carrillo's really improving his control. That's excellent news. That is precisely what I want to see him do. Good stuff, friends. Malcolm Perkins. That movement is garbage, but if he can get that to sort it out. Alright. So, what are we looking at for the Pirates so far? Jalen Tucker is badly struggling. Very, very badly struggling. Josh Lynch is getting on base. That is his job, of course. So, even if he's not hitting 283, that's not really his job. His job is to get on base and be driven in by the guys behind him. Manny Pozo is turning in an excellent season. Bill Garay is off to a slower start, but still has plenty of thump. We just need to maybe give him some more opportunities here. Jose Herrera is pretty badly struggling offensively. But the real story here is Jalen Tucker. My man is bringing the thump. But he can't hit 205. He just can't. And he's not even hitting righties. He's supposed to be pretty good at that, but he's not. It is fair to ask whether Tucker is a worthwhile left fielder, but there's a couple things that make me dubious about his inefficiencies thus far. Namely, a BABIP of 220. I don't think that's his true talent level. I don't think he's even close to that being his true talent level. I feel pretty confident his batting average will improve as the season progresses, so I'm not too worried about him. Ray Samano is not playing as well as I'd hoped either. He's got an okay batting average, and he's getting on base, sort of, but he's not hitting for very much power. So the question becomes, do I have any highly ranked outfielders who might want a chance at the big time? Sean Rowe would be a possibility if he could play the field. He's not. He's a designated hitter, and that's fine. But he is certainly not a major league worthy outfielder. We could try Sean Hill. I'd rather Hill get a few more reps in the high minors, but this may be where our outfield upgrade comes from. I could also trade for an outfielder. I don't really feel too much pressure to do that. Not right now, anyway. Let's keep going for the moment. I'm concerned about Tucker, but I think a 250 average is within his grasp. And at 250, I think he is more than worthy to be a starting outfielder for us. Let's look at the rest of the team. Johnny Cerulli, excellent work so far. High quality player. Mcdonald is playing okay. I don't want to get sucked into a great big contract with him, but I wouldn't object to like a 1 or 2 year extension if his price is reasonable, which it is not. Rotation is okay. Edgar Guzman is definitely having a rough season so far. I am not at all concerned about that, though. I think he's going to turn it around here very soon, because his BABIP is ridiculous right now, but his peripherals are excellent. So I'm pretty convinced he's going to figure his shit out. Bullpen, both Salgado and Hill are struggling, but they both only have about 20 innings in. I'm going to take you out of long relief, and I'm going to put Salgado back into long relief. Avoid high leverage, please. Our top tier relievers are pitching very well, but the rest of the pen is struggling a little bit. Did I promise Day a rotation spot, or did I just promise him pitching? I just promised him pitching. I'm going to send Salgado to the minors and call up Dan Day and let Dan Day be a middle reliever for us. Maybe use him a bit more often and see what he can manage in that role. And I'm going to put Virgil Hill on use less often. There we go. Let's see how this works, this new timeshare for the pitching staff, and then we can evaluate from there. Wouldn't mind bringing Dan Day back as long as I'm asking for too much money. Mr. Briones, I will go ahead and give you your couple weeks off. Tommy Mcdonald. Time for him to come back and then put Corey McLaughlin in the rotation. I think that's reasonable. There we go. Did I draft Josh Lynch? I thought I always traded for him. Where did you come from, Mr. Lynch? No, I definitely didn't draft you. No, that was definitely a trade. You turned into two of our current starters, and then I got him back in free agency, and then I traded him again, and then I got him back again. Hey, though, you know what? Josh Lynch has been an excellent player, and I don't feel any compunction at all against letting him continue to play unless he proves that he can't anymore. Oh, you'll be day-to-day for a couple of weeks. That's fine. A couple of promotions. Excellent. And Jim Gender is out for a year and a half. That creates issues. Because I don't have another really obvious reliever. Damn, 5 hits for Mcdonald. Very nice. Including a 3-run homer. Excellent. So, this creates a huge issue. If we look at our bullpen options, Alex Salgado doesn't really thrill me. I don't think he thrills anybody, but he especially doesn't thrill me. I don't want to bring up Carrillo just to make him a reliever. I think that's a waste of his talent. Yeah, I'm in this weird position here where I kind of need to go get a closer. I'm not saying Guevara can't do it, because he definitely can, but he's already somewhat injured. And I don't know that it would be a great idea to do much with him. Let's start first by checking out free agency. There is nobody of any value here. Okay, the waiver wire. Nobody of any value there either. The trade market. What the fuck? Why are you trying to trade him, Vegas? How desperate are you to get rid of him? What if I offered you Bill Garay? Oh, he doesn't want to be traded. That's fine. Why is this a bad idea? Yeah, this is a brilliant idea. This gets me a genuine ace who is still under team control for a while longer. Let's try to make this trade bigger, though. Is there a quality reliever that you can offer me? Ryan Brown's not that amazing, but I wouldn't say no to him. Let's do it. Friends, I don't know why that worked, but I'm happy that it did. Starter going away. Is McLaughlin just because I can send him down? And then Mr. Giro here is going to become a starting pitcher for us. Like, yeah, he's got arbitration. I get it. But why the fuck would I not want him? I'll take it every day of the week. And we'll keep going for right now. Like, I know 30 isn't young, right? 30 is definitely not young, but it's a lot younger than a lot of my other starters that have much bigger roles. So I am pretty okay with that. He's going to miss another week. That's fine. 15 freaking Ks. Mr. Jose Rivera. Not a starter. No, thank you. The Blue Jays will offer me the David Ruiz. He's a good pitcher. I don't disagree with that. But I think not. Oh, I do have to set a new closer, don't I? Mr. Guevara, you're the new closer. And Dan Day transitions to setup. Ryan Brown is a middle reliever, and John Deek, you get promoted to use more often. There you go. Do I want David Ruiz? He's a really solid pitcher. But I just don't need another generic middle reliever, I don't think. I think I'm willing to just keep going with what I've got and then see what happens as we get closer to that. Poor Bobby Herrera. You've had a nice long career with Columbus, though. You've just never been all that great. It turns out that I was right to move on from him when I did. I hate being right sometimes, but in this case, looks like I was. They did get a couple decent seasons out of him, but yeah, he was always just way too fragile to spend a lot of resources on. So he dodged a bullet there. I mean, as long as Lynch is day-to-day, I need him to commit. I either need you to stay hurt, or I need you to get better. And that is, in all probability, the end of Bill Garay's career with the Pittsburgh Pirates. So, I think this is the perfect time to call up Mr. Valdivia. And let me explain why. He gives us another quality outfielder. But more importantly, it lets me play Canigiani every day. And I think that's more valuable than having Chris Hawk, who can only play first base, quite literally. So Canigiani, you are my first baseman for always. I need a new hitter against left-handed pitching here. I guess I'll do Valdivia for right now, and then let Cerulli switch back to playing DH full-time. I think that's fair. For right now, anyway. I also want Valdivia to be the number one... No, he can just stay where he is right now. And we'll see how this turns out here. Joe Junkin. Joe Junkin is not a good pitcher, is the issue, though. I'm sure I could have him if I wanted him. He's just not very good. Angel Briones can come back. He's certainly better than Padilla, but I'm going to let him rehab. I'm not going to rush him back until I'm sure that I need him back. Devon Babcock. Yes, Babcock is the first starter here that I genuinely think would be a nice addition. What would it take me to add him to my team? Wow, really? Just flat out no one. Damn, son. What if I offered you the one, the only Ricky Henderson? Yeah, you don't want to give him up. That is totally fair. I wouldn't want to give him up either if he were in my team. So that is fair. All right. Star of the week is Jim Richardson. Oh, the guy that I traded Lynch for. Known in the top 100. That's completely fair and reasonable. What is not reasonable is figuring out... Oh, it's literally only minor league coaches. Let's lock them all up then. Three coaches, haven't decided yet. Aldrin Acosta is quite nice. I think he's a little bit better as a pitching coach, but I will extend him regardless. Andres Melendez is quite a nice little hitting coach, although he isn't like a genius or anything. I quite like it. I quite like what he can bring to the table. Jose Sotillo is fantastic, and we will definitely be offering him a new salary. Literally, the only person on the Major League staff whose contract is up is mine, which is... I mean, it's always possible I don't get re-signed. I think I'd have to do very badly for that to happen, but we can see what happens here. I have I? Interesting. Very interesting. Some international free agents. Any big changes here? Not really. Samano's getting worse. Akamura's getting better. That's cool. McLaughlin is getting better. Okay. So, it is July 1st. When is the draft? The draft is very, very soon. And it's time for international free agent signings. So we'll do that first real quick. Give me Danny Rivera. I know you're going to tell me no, but I'm going to try. I'm pretty sure it's going to tell me no, but I have to try, right? This kind of potential out of a freaking... I mean, he's going to end up being a second baseman most likely. I don't care. He's incredible. But he's probably going to tell me no. I feel pretty confident about that. Yeah. Joey Nurse is an amazing pitching prospect that you will never give me in a million years. I'm not even going to waste my time. I knew it wasn't going to happen. So. What about Omero here? I'm not going to dick around. I'm just going to give him the max. So I can't lose him. And that's good. First player draft. Yeah, we're not scoring. This needs to be addressed. Okay, lose Padilla for 5 weeks. McLaughlin comes back. Just go ahead and chuck him right into the rotation. Yeah, I don't think anyone else is going to give me a decent offer. Like, Willie Alvarez is legitimately not good. Let's quickly go to the trade menu and take that need off right now. I'm just not getting realistic people, and I might just be better off finding a player I want to move on from and then going from there. Angel Briones, I'm going to put you on the 15-day IL again, which will reset your clock there, and that'll be good. So, how does the offense look? Jalen Tucker and Sermano are not getting it done. They're really not. I can't afford this little production out of the outfield. Sean Hill, it's going to be you. You're going to be my in-house replacement for them. The question is, which one do I think has a chance to turn it around? Sermano is legitimately terrible. Jalen Tucker is just replacement level. So it's going to be Sermano goes to the minors, and Sean Hill, welcome to the big leagues. I didn't want to promote you yet, but I will do so with happily, and I will put you in right field. Monsieur Sean Hill is not very good at left-handed pitching. So I am going to need... How's Valdivia doing? Too soon to tell. I need another right-handed outfielder. Or I just play Hill there and see if he can figure it out, because I kind of have to right now. I don't have a right-handed bat right now. So this is going to be Valdivia's chance to play center, and then you will play right field. Oh, literally the stupidest. No, it's going to be Valdivia in right and Hill in left. There you go. That should work. Tucker, you're hitting for power, right? You're just not hitting anything else. It may be just we maybe just move on from him and try to get a better outfielder. I don't know. But I definitely don't want to bring in a high-priced replacement. If I trade Samano, could I get a decent starting pitching prospect, I wonder? I can get any one of a number of mediocre pitchers, but I cannot get a legitimately good one. What about a reliever? I could definitely use some more relief arms in my system. Anybody at 50? Steve Kearns he's not really that amazing, but he is theoretically not terrible. What if I asked for a prospect? Package. I mean, that is not a terrible offer. I just don't want to trade for anyone that's going to take up room on the 40-man. Josiah Goff doesn't intrigue me all that much. He's a very good infielder. Actually, he is actually quite a good infielder, isn't he? Let me discuss this and try to get you to add in a relief pitcher prospect, because that's really what I want more than anything right now. Is a decent relief pitcher that doesn't take any spots. How about Chris Salinas? Vinny Perez doesn't do it for me. I'm just going to dump him and see if I can get, like, maybe JD Keikos, too. Let's do it. Samano was always going to be a bit of a loose cannon there, and I'm not surprised that he is struggling. I mean, there is playing Ricky Hernandez in the outfield, right? I've got a feeling he's probably going to be up at the... He's going to be up in the next season or two, I think. Because I think Henderson's first role is going to be as a super utility guy, and then see if he's good enough at any one position to stick there. Now, Jalen Tucker. What if I send you to the minors, because you didn't have enough time in AAA, and I call up Sean Rowe? Now, Rowe cannot play the outfield, but Rowe is a much better hitter than you. And I think I like that idea a lot. Let's send Tucker to the minors, figure out his shit. And what we do is we just put Johnny Cerulli back and right and let Sean Rowe DH. And see what this gets us. Just see what this gets us, because Mr. Sean Rowe has a lot of potential, and I like him a little bit better than Tucker. So we're going to see what he can accomplish, and then just let Tucker get some more experience in the minors before he gets a bigger role with the club. You give me the Greg Fleischman. I don't hate it, but I don't like it either. He's not even having a great year pitching for St. Louis right now, so I think this is a no. Alright. Let's try and grab ourselves a quality prospector 3 in the draft. All players. There are some really nice prospects. They're just not going to fall to me. I have no illusions about that. Or maybe 3 of them will fall to me. Robbie Rodriguez is an incredible hitter that I'm almost sure might stick at second base. I'm not totally convinced of that, though. But I like the cut of his jib. Danny D-Lock doesn't do much for me. I think I'll pass on him. Ernesto Turner. Just take the best bat. And the best bat is Robbie Rodriguez. So we will draft him. I'll take Ernesto Turner in the second round. Why not? Adham bin Azim. You're going to be a very interesting pitcher. But I think interesting is what we're looking for. I think you actually do look like a pretty solid pitcher for us, potentially. I will draft Xavier Goodwin. I don't love it. Unless Danny Gonzalez is better. He's much bigger, and he's much better at striking people out. I'm willing to bet a tiny sum that he will put on a lot more velocity as he ages. So I think Danny Gonzalez is the better choice here. Xavier Goodwin is still here. I see no reason not to give him a chance too. Ruben Vega. Good hitter, not a good catcher. Ray Smith. Decent infielder, decent hitter. I don't mind taking you with the 6th round pick and see what that turns into. What your actual salary demands become. I will take Vega here in the 7th. Brandon the Baldwin. He is gigantic, right? He's got to have a fairly good chance of being a much harder thrower than he is right now. Are there any big-time contact hitters left in the draft? Yes, there is Kenny Fleming. Or Kenny Fleming. Let's do it. Give me some Fleming. Build up some Louise Buckley. He's got a very good all-around bat. I like that quite a lot. And Jose de Los Angeles. I will draft you as well. I want to get some big-time pitching strikeout machines. And there really are none at this point. Great. No, not pitching right now. Pitching potential. Edwin Woods, welcome to the Pirates. And if Alex Moreno is still around, he is not. I would have drafted him, but he's not. Let us complete the draft. There's some pretty ridiculous talent available late in the draft. 32nd overall, and I get a player with this kind of bat. Like, I know he's not a real third baseman, right? He could be. He's probably a first baseman. He's 18. You take best player available and see what he ends up as. I am delighted at the prospect of having some of these players. We didn't fix the bullpen. I told you all I really wanted to draft a quality reliever, and I just wasn't able to. We might have to find other ways to get relievers. Ray Smith, you would like over $6 million to sign. I will not be signing you. Just not worth it. just not worth that. Alright, my dudes, let us check out the All-Star Game rosters. Who is on from Pitt? Jose Brown, Manny Pozo, and that's it. Just 2 All-Stars this time around. Well, I mean, it is kind of hard to get multiple people in the All-Star team, given that that rule still exists, that every team has to be represented at least once. So 2 people seems pretty fair. And holy shit, is Manny Pozo killing it this season. He's playing at quite a high level, and I'm very pleased with that. Prospect game roster, Henry Salgado, and that's it. Okay. Cool. Trading deadline, please and thank you. John Hopkins is bad. I don't even care what these other guys are worth. My answer to you is no. Yeah, Tommy, I think you're done. I don't really see any benefit to bringing you back just for one more season. Like, even if you came back and said 500 grand, I still wouldn't do it. I think I need to move on. Ahmed the Bonnet is not terrible. But you're asking for Ricky Henderson, and I think that's a pretty crappy deal. Nah, I'm not going to bother. I'm not that impressed by you. Really, Joe? That is treason, my dude. That is absolute treason. Five hits and 3 bloody home runs. What the hell, my dudes? What the hell? Yeah, I'm not really that interested in it. Okay. So Sean Hill's going to miss 5 weeks with a torn hamstring. That's not going to do you any favors, my guy. So who comes back to be the starting outfielder? Holy shit, has Henry Salgado come out of nowhere? Get on my team. Right now. I don't care that you are a dog shit outfielder. Yes. Just yes. All of the yes. You're a terrible outfielder. I don't care. I don't know where this came from, but I'm gonna exploit it. You best believe. Because holy shit, are you an amazing player. Louise, I have a feeling you're probably going to want like 11 million a season, and I'm not going to pay that. Where did you even come from, my dude? Alright, trading deadline news. A couple things to think about. I need to make, at a minimum, 2 spots on the 40-man. So I can add Henderson and Carrillo to the roster. So is there anybody that's reasonably good that's stuck in AAA that I could trade for a decent prospect? Alex Salgado, maybe? No, let's trade Keith Hines for a single prospect of any flavor, really. Yeah, give me Kearns. I don't think we look like idiots. I think we look brilliant. Let me try to trade Jim Hughes. I don't think we're going to get an amazing offer for him, but we might get something. I don't need brilliance. I just need something that isn't terrible. And I'm not going to bother with that. I'll just waive him. Alright. So I don't forget, I'm going to go ahead and put... No, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait. Because I put them on there now, I have to start their service time clocks that much sooner. And I don't want to do that. So here's the other interesting decision. It's a very interesting decision. Steve Mcdonald, as having an amazing season, an important player for this team. I am not paying him $20 million. I'm just not. So the question becomes, do we keep him for the rest of the season because he is playing so well, or do we trade him so that we get something out of him? I think we go ahead and keep him. Because I don't think Jonathan Webb is going to be a great second baseman. I mean, he might be someday, but... I could hand his job to Ricky Henderson, but Ricky Henderson is really struggling just to be in AAA. And he's not a very good second baseman anyway. He looks like he's getting more of a utility guy with a pretty decent bat. Do I trade Ricky Henderson? Actually. No, because he's a reasonably good outfielder, and I think he isn't the worst. So I think we do keep him. I just need to figure out what to do with him. So Mcdonald walks after this season, which is a pretty fair assumption. Who plays second base for us next season? Maybe Mancia? I think Mancia could be a starting second baseman for us and have an okay season. Henderson's going to get every chance to be a decent second baseman, maybe. I don't know. Kenny Gianni, why do you have all the nagging injuries, like, constantly? You're irritating me to a high degree. Let us continue for now. Do we give Henderson and Carrillo the 27th and 28th roster spots now that rosters have expanded? I think maybe we do. Damn, Sean Hill's starting to figure shit out. It's a shame he's injured. I think we have to try. I think we have to try with those two. So that's what I'm going to do. Oh, no. It's not till September 1st, is it? That's right. Let's send forward a few more weeks. We seem to get a bit of a hot streak, and I think we control our playoff destiny. We just need to, like, actually warm up. But the problem is we've just been good without being great. And we need to find that extra oomph to carry us into the postseason. As for Jim Hughes, is cleared waivers. I am not surprised in the least. He doesn't have to be activated. How is my current starting pitching staff? We're doing fine. I don't see any reason to rush Briones, so we're going to go ahead and put him right back on a rehab assignment. Padilla, you can equally find your way to a rehab assignment. Nieves is out for 2 months. So, of Padilla, and Briones is by far the better pitcher. So we're going to call him back up. And you're going to be long relief emergency starter. Hey Dick, how about you become my new setup guy and you just go back to being middle relief? Hey, it's our old pal Louise Gonzalez. Hit 3 home runs in the minor leagues. He has never really turned out, has he? It's a shame. Gray Canigiani is still playing at an exceptionally high level. While I don't doubt you would be better, I think I'd rather let you rehab some more. And then maybe make a decision about what I want to do with the rest of the roster. Corey McLaughlin's getting better. That's a very encouraging sign. Valdivia's improving nicely. That's great news. Johnny Cerulli is getting a tiny bit worse. Nothing too thrilling there. Robbie the hero. Right now, I'm going to nickname you the hero. I think that is an amazing name. So, what are we looking at now? I am looking at a team full of competent hitters, but I'm not looking at a team with too many stars. Sean Rowe is hitting for power, but little else. Henry Salgado is a lot better than he looks because he's getting on base at a silly clip, which is nice to see. Jose Herrera is playing better. Josh Lynch gets on base at a 350 clip. I can't argue with that. Manny Pozo looks excellent. Cerulli and Canigiani are definitely bringing some thunder. But the problem is that apart from my two heavy hitters, I'm not getting a ton of power. And we're not scoring runs at the rate I would expect. We probably need to make some serious decisions in the offseason. One thing I could do right away is bump Steve Mcdonald up the lineup, but I'm not sure that his talent level is real or not. Sean Hill coming back, I think we're going to go ahead and send Sean Rowe to the minors, because that lets me then put Salgado in a DH if I need to. Or Johnny Cerulli can go to DH. Probably one of them should go to DH, in all honesty. But it is roster expansion day, so we're going to go ahead and activate Andres Carrillo and Ricky Henderson. Carrillo, you're going to be the new emergency starter, long reliever. Tommy Mcdonald is going to be avoid high leverage. And maybe generate me new depth charts, please, Mr. Bench Coach. Akamura should not be playing over Salgado. Like, don't even waste my time. And Benayoun should not be playing every 3 games either. Benayoun can play once a week. But the rest of this is fine. No. Give me maximum Cerulli. I don't really think Akamura needs to start. Like, he's not terrible. I don't hate him, but he is very deliberately not a starter. So please respect my authority to make that decision. Alright, so we're going to get Sean Hill back. That means so long to Sean Rowe. It is some regular Sean on Sean awkwardness. So you're going to come in and play left field. And Salgado's going to move to DH there. With 41, 48, 50. No, you know what? Cerulli goes to DH. Salgado can play right. That makes more sense. All right. Is there any other position I'd like to make? Ryan, you haven't pitched well enough to earn the closer's role, so don't complain. Steve, I just can't pay $19 million to you. I cannot. You can test free agency if you like. Really, Cerulli? 5 singles. Come on, bruh. Bruh. You can do it. I believe in you. Oh no, anyway. All right, Bill. I think Ricky Anderson comes back to the minors and I call you back up. Kanagiani, are you still getting dominated against right-handed pitching, or are you hitting quite well against both of them? You're actually hitting worse against lefties. That's interesting. Okay. As far as what we do with Bill Garay, I'm not entirely sure. But Kanagiani is definitely the better player right now. So I think we're just gonna let Garay back up and maybe... oh, here. Just regenerate depth charts and I will remove things around as I need to. Once a week. Once every 10 days for Bill Garay, I think, is reasonable. And once every 10 days there. Once every 10, once every 10. And once a week. Cool. That'll work. Padilla, I'm going to just designate you for assignment. I don't really want you anymore. You're literally hurt again. Enjoy the 60-day IL. Just so I don't have to decide about you. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to make the playoffs or not. I think we need to get a bit of a hot streak to end the season here if we are going to make the playoffs, though. Mr. Moya, I would very much like you to rehab because I'd like you to recover and be ready to go at some point next season. So I don't really want to rush you back to the majors. I'd like to get something for my $23 million next year. I'm just saying. Hey, McLaughlin got a shutout. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Dan, you're not a starting pitcher. You have no stamina left. Stop complaining. Okay? Just shut the fuck up, and everyone will be a lot happier. Well, that is very unfortunate. He is one of our best pitchers this year. Do we make Moya into a reliever? No, we don't. We use him as a reliever. Just let him get in some low leverage innings and see what that gets us. Damn it, Deke. You had a really good season for us. And I only signed you for what, like the major league minimum? I got through trade. Man, this trade has not worked out for us. Frickin' Joe comes to Atlanta, hits 46 damn home runs. What the hell, dude? And you're still angry. Why are you angry? Oh, you're angry because you have bad team chemistry and your team sucks. Well, I wish I could say I feel bad for you, but I don't. And no playoffs for us. That's a disappointment. But it's not really, Cerulli, really. You dumb fucker. Anyway. Yeah, I'm not that bothered by missing the playoffs this year. I don't think we were good enough, to be honest with you. You're right, Bill. That's exactly what I think of you. How did you figure it out? We need a couple of really big-time bats. I think that's the most important thing this team doesn't really have. Kanagiani and Cerulli and Pozo are all very, very good. We need another bat to go with them. But what's interesting about this team is that bat may already be on this team. We just need to give some more time and some more opportunities to the players that could maybe make that happen. I don't know. I genuinely do not know for sure what our path to... That's a shame. Let's promote what's-his-face. Let's promote Sotillo. Mr. Juan Kelly, would you like to be promoted? You would. And I'm just going to get a new hitting coach there. Yeah, give me some Casey Dykes action. Give me a nice high A hitting coach. You're not a closer. I never said you would be a closer. Shut the fuck up about being the closer. Good news, you might get the closer's role next season if you just quit complaining. So, you know, stop it. I think we do need to maybe shuffle the coaching staff around next season. Because we do need a little bit better chemistry in the clubhouse. This was kind of a reloading year, if you think about it. This is kind of a year in which we gave a bunch of young players a real opportunity to win, to play meaningful baseball. I don't think I can rehab you. Oh, I can. Cool. I think Giro the Hero is going to be a big piece to our successes next year. But we really just need to try out a couple of additional players, really. We need to spend intelligently in free agency. God damn it. Any series this season where the Yankees end up with the World Series is a bad season. I'm sorry. Screw the Yankees. Screw the Yankees. Do I get a shiny new contract? Is my first and most important question. I doubt I'm going to get fired. But maybe I will. I don't know. Perhaps I will. Are any of you any good? Nope. 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 Josh Lynch only ended up hitting 227. And I think it's time for us to move on from him. I'm going to go ahead and void his last contract here. Bill, I wish you hadn't executed your option, but we'll figure something out to do with him. We're retiring number 26 for Tommy Mcdonald. Tommy Mcdonald has a real chance to make the Hall of Fame. The question then becomes, is he going to be a Hall of Famer? And I don't know that or not. I'm not happy either. He wants improvement. He wants it to just flat out cut payroll. If I can just get rid of Gray, that'll fix it. Poisonel. Escamilla. You don't want to be promoted. I don't want you to be the hitting coach. I want you to be the pitching coach. Don't be freaking stupid. Oh, that was the issue. They thought I wanted them to be hitting coaches. I don't. Mr. Butt, I'd like you to become the hitting coach for Lowe. Mr. Melendez, I cannot promote you. So we'll just hire ourselves a couple of new coaches here. Teach pitching. Please give me Shoma Fujihira. Please. And let's get ourselves some Irvin the Roper. Test. Is Garrett Gunnels a coach yet? Can I bring my beautiful boy back to the majors? He is not. What a jerk. Anyway. Let's talk about what went well and what we need to fix next season. Our best player was Manny Pozo, who put in the best season of his career in a lot of ways. He had 291, 371, didn't have quite as much power. All around, an excellent third baseman. Might get some Gold Glove consideration, I don't know. But of all the issues we had this season, Manny Pozo is not one of them. And he is still well under the money per win that you're looking for. So, Manny Pozo, well done. Steve McDonald, I don't think anyone saw this season coming. I sure didn't. It's the best season of his career, and he can enjoy a new salary somewhere else. Our two JCs, Cerulli and Canagiani, both had excellent seasons. Cerulli was a little bit better, but Canagiani certainly nothing terrible. Clint Daly is what he is at this point. He is a reasonably good shortstop who won't embarrass himself offensively. Josh Lynch really cratered. Henry Salgado, my boy, I know you've got more than this. I'm counting on you to pick up a heavy lift next season. Same with Sean Hill. Ruben Valdivia is almost certainly going to be our opening day center fielder, unless you can find a really good one. The offense was good, but it wasn't great. And that's where we really struggled this season. If we look at weighted on base average, I think it'll become much more apparent. This shows you we had 3 outstanding hitters and 2 good hitters. And then we had a lot of other hitters that were just league average or worse. That's a problem. That is a hugely ginormous problem. We need better. Maybe that's Salgado and Hill playing a full season and showing what they can do in their relative positions. Maybe it's acquiring a top-tier free agent. But regardless, we gotta find a way to get the lineup better. It was good. It could be great with some improvements in some of our players and just some nice consistency or even further steps forward by other people. Let's now look at the pitching staff. Giro, Brown, and Gutierrez were all very, very good. Teat was acceptable. This was just a pitching staff that lacked big game pitching. When we needed great pitching, we typically did not get it. That's the other big thing we need to fix. Now, Giro here is definitely part of that solution. But we're going to have to do better. And I think the bullpen needs a dramatic upgrade. Guevara is great, but I'm not going to bring him back for a whole bunch of money. I'm just not. I actually have a mandate from our owner to save payroll. So we're going to find a way to try to save some payroll. First of all, let's go to salary, arbitration. Oh, we're actually going to lose Teed? What does he want? He pitched okay. He certainly didn't disappoint. Mr. Tiet or Teed or whatever you want to be called, I'm not going to promise you the starting rotation, but I will give you an extension. And he said it's like you're actually a better fitted to be a reliever. Dan Day is really just a reliever at this point. He is a reasonably good one if we give him the opportunity. So I will give him his 1-year contract, but I'm not going to guarantee you a role as a rotation guy. Robbie Guerreau, definite contract extension material. And yes, I will promise you a rotation spot. I think that's very reasonable. Greg Weld was fine. Like, he didn't win us any games, but he didn't really lose us any either. The uptick in walk rate is really concerning. And unfortunately, it looks like 2052 was his big issue. Let's try to trade him and see what that might gain us. I gotta say, I like the idea of Danny Domkowski, even though they're basically the same person as Greg Weld, just more money. No, Kent Bear doesn't do much for me. Ken Miller isn't anything good. I kind of like Jeremy Mays. I think he'd be a good addition to our bullpen. So I think we're going to give him a shot. I mean, I can ask for a prospect. You're just going to tell me no, though. Yeah, I'll just complete the trade. Ryan Brown, I will give you a 1-year extension. Oh, really? Okay. I'll tell you what, Jim. I will actually sign this deal and then just not give you another year. I think 1 year for $6 million is fair. And we can see how you turn out. Yeah, I'm not going to bring back Josh Lynch. I need to move on from him. Steve Mcdonald costs too much money. I could maybe offer him a qualifying offer just to get the draft pick. I think someone will give him $20 million. And it won't be me. So I'm going to do that as a possible method of doing things. Alex Anchondo, I'd like to give you a minor league contract extension. That seems good. And last but certainly not least, one last thing to do at the end of this episode here. I'm under no illusions about how easy this will be. But if I can trade Bill Garay, I think we will find ourselves in a superior financial position. I really, truly do. Okay, I'm going to get some offers here. No, I'm not. If I eat 50% of his contract, what does that get me? I could literally get Kui Song and then non-tender him. What if I reduce it to 25%? I might wait till the league year rolls over. That may be a better solution. Yeah, I'm going to wait till the league year rolls over and see what people think then. Alright, my friends, we shall now conclude our episode. I want to thank you very much for watching. I hope you've been enjoying the series thus far. Until next time, however, this is going to be Out Guardian. Thank you for watching, and I bid you good day.